Beloved roses, Mother Akasha is with you. And as I greet you, I pour forth through this recording unto each of you the rose-pink flames of divine love, will, and grace. And may each of you so open your feelings and allow yourselves to feel the rose-pink flames of divine love. Breathe for a few moments, consciously accepting my rose-pink flames of love that I offer to each of you. Today, beloved roses, I wish to speak to you regarding the great awakening process. Of course, there is unique context to the subject of awakening itself. Many of the people of Earth, wonderful people, there is a natural impulse within them, a desire, almost an inner demand, that in the awakening that is taking place on the earth this day, that the truth be revealed. People desire to know what has been hidden from them. What is the truth? And this is a great awakening that is occurring in the lives of many good people of Earth. Today, I wish to speak into the contextual understanding of spiritual awakening. Last weekend, we held a workshop in Vancouver, Canada, The Great Awakening. Where 9 great ascended masters came and spoke. Some revealing more of what has been going on in the earth, and others revealing how each of you can awaken more deeply, more wonderfully to your own divine natures. June 20th, 21st, we will hold part 2 of the Great Awakening and continue this course where your ascended host can reveal more of what has been hidden in this world. The people of Earth are good, they are kind, and they are strong. And the people of Earth are growing within each of them a desire for truth. There are certain tyrants and forces in the world who seek to thrust certain events upon the good people. And these ones who seek global control are in this moment quite surprised that they are not getting the kind of reaction from the good people of the earth that they had hoped for. For many of these tyrants had hoped to grind the global civilization to a halt through fear. And yet this is not the response. Oh, to be true, there are those who are genuinely afraid. Yet there is a genuine response amongst the good people to gather in unity and a determination and a resolve to face the current situations in your world, to support each other with greater love and appreciation, while yet demanding greater truths and less government intervention upon their lives. Whilst this is happening, to all of you who have found an interest in spirituality, and where that interest has not found any real, deep, inner satisfaction from the world of religion. Many of you, by an inner impulse, have sought spiritual revelation, teachings that may begin to offer you the greater truth of who you are and what you are. And is there a process that can unfold a new reality? For some of you, that process of awakening has been referred to as the journey home, a journey of unwinding a false sense of self, a journey of becoming your true self. This journey has required each of you to support yourselves by finding a spiritual path that most resonates for you. And each one must decide them for themselves, what that path shall be. As I greet you, beloved precious roses, as I, Akasha, am the Academy's teacher of the original Tree of Life teachings, long lost in this world, teachings originating from the ancient Himalayan mystery school, which is now closed, yet teachings that were also taught by Jesus Christ. And unfortunately, many of his teachings are not part of the New Testament today. In my time with you, precious roses, I feel that it is time for, if we are to advance ourselves, our path, our awakening, it is wise to occasionally review why we choose to awaken, why we choose to become interested in things of a spiritual nature, and ultimately to seek a spiritual path that may help our awakening. Today, I offer you a quick review with the understanding that in the history of the people of Earth, people have lived as if they were a branch cut off from the tree of life itself. This has occurred through various religious teachings and other educational resources that have adopted the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that has led people to believe in two seeming powers: the belief in good and the belief in evil. And whilst this has been unfolding over centuries of times, perhaps it is wise to remember of all the lack and limitations and difficult appearances in the outer world. The truth is that all the people of the earth are a creator race, are creator beings, endowed with the power to create. And therefore, in accordance with their belief in two powers, good and evil, the good people have used their innate powers of creation and manifestation and have created in their worlds creations, manifestations that are the results of their beliefs. And as ugly forces have entrenched fear in the emotional bodies of too many people, that fear becomes an emotional fuel that fuels their belief in good and evil, unfolding in their world of human experience. Yet, while this is happening, in every century, there are always those who tire of the limitation and the suffering that has been in the world. And there are those who experience that inner nudge, that inner prompting that allows one to begin to pursue something else, a truth. The awakening process unfolds. And as one awakens, that person realizes that they and humanity have fallen into a spell, perhaps the worst infection in consciousness, believing in the tree of knowledge of good and evil. However, the awakening process eventually leads one to discover that we all, in truth, are a unique part of the tree of life, the tree of life that knows only perfection. And with that comes the understanding, a new understanding of God. Not a punishing God, not an abandoning God, a new understanding that God is life. And out of life comes the divine polarity of light. That being, divine mind, the masculine expression of that polarity, and the divine polarity of love. That being, divine heart, feminine expression. On the earth plane, in the third dimension, the belief in two powers, the belief in good and evil, has created a duality, consciousness, and expression. This duality consciousness and all its manifestations has tragically replaced the polarity consciousness of life, of light, of love. An awakening to the tree of life, one comes to recognize and affirm deep within, I am the branch. Christ is the tree. God is the roots upon which I am grounded. Then one begins to realize it is impossible to separate from source. For if you are alive in this world or any other world, that life within your heart, your spirit, your soul, is indeed your God life. And if you are alive, which each of you are, makes no difference if you live in this world or you have passed through the change called death and then enter into another world and wait an opportunity to be born back again into this world, to try again, matters not. Life continues, is ongoing, is everlasting. And you realize that ideas of separation has led to a temporary loss of contact with your own divinity and with the infinity of divine mind, the Heavenly Father, and divine heart, the Heavenly Mother. In this awakening, you realize that you are not simply biological beings. Then comes the recognition that the belief in separation, as in a branch cut off from the tree, is just an illusion. Yet a dream made real using your own innate powers of creation. Yet realizing the impossibility to be cut off from life, from God's source. With that deep inner realization that occurs in your awakening, the journey home, back to your God nature, our God self, begins. With this realization, beloved hearts, We become more conscious. We recognize the precious gift of awareness. Awareness. And we soon become aware that we are spiritual beings of consciousness, and that there are many layers to our consciousness, and ultimately that in truth we are, each of us, multidimensional beings, and we are living within a multi-body system while we visit Earth. The awakening continues. The journey back to being and living our true self unfolds. This unfoldment comes with a new awareness that within our inner consciousness is a great presence. And that presence is as infinite a presence as is the very God source that exists all throughout the cosmos. We each find a suitable spiritual path that will expand and nurture our greater understanding of ourselves, our life, and the universe itself. Our continued awakening becomes a return path of becoming once again our true self, purpose, destiny, and a renewed comprehension of our rightful place in the universe. We soon realize through our studies and our spiritual practice that we are awakening to our innate and inborn spiritual assets that have been silent in our seeming separation, that are now a part of an awakening inner splendor that has always been part of our beingness. And as we discover and accept more of our divine nature unfolding, we discover new splendors formerly sleeping, yet new splendors within our hearts, our feelings, our mind, and inner layers of our consciousness that we are reaching inwardly and making contact. We soon realize in all of this that even our physical brain can do so much more. We realize that within our beingness is our own inner wellspring of living waters, a spiritual force, our own reservoir of unlimited life force that we can consciously begin to draw upon and change our life experience in this world. We realize that from both places, deep within our own inner consciousness and from above us, from our higher self, the I Am Presence. There is a greater God fuel that we can draw upon to fuel our physical bodies with greater life and health. We realize that there is even an evolution to our central nerve system, a higher nature to our nerve center, being a center, a system that can and will deliver liquid light throughout our physical bodies. We discover not only our inner and higher nature, we discover the realities of angels and ascended beings who have always stood ready when we call to them, who will work alongside our own I Am Presence to help each of us once again spiritualize and energize our mental, our emotional, our physical bodies, our light bodies, the 7 energy centers of our physical garments, known as the chakras, and so much more. We discover in our awakening that there abides inner super electrons that exist within our physical bodies, yet unknown to science. And in our awakening and our desire to be free, to be our original God self once again, right desire and right will then naturally grows within us. And that expanding desire and divine will causes those super electrons formerly hidden in our bodies to burst into living flames of the sacred fire, known as the unfed flames of God. They abide within the heart as the great love flame. 3 within the chest cavity, the threefold flames of love, wisdom, and power. And 7 spiritual electrons within the frontal lobes of the brain. Then when those electrons awaken, become the 7 flames of Elohim, the 7 flames of creation. And then those flames begin to deliver into the brain new, higher, wonderful electronic frequencies that open the way for us to use greater activities of our brain. And as the light expands in our mind, we too understand that our physical brain and our mind are 2 different activities. And that when we consciously face the light, to fill our minds with the endless light, that light too flows into the brain. As we acknowledge these inner flames of the sacred fire, as we turn within and we call for them to expand and release their mighty qualities within our bodies, a new spiritual nutrition that our bodies have longed for begins to unfold in our physical garments. All of this brings new experiences of greater enhanced mental abilities of mind, greater enhanced feelings of love, a renewed sense of life and health in our bodies, heightened senses of sense and intuition, and an inborn knowingness of what is constructive and what is not. We no longer have to be told what is right and what is wrong. And no longer are we even interested in determining if something is right or wrong. For we understand that those decisions, those observations are too often fueled with opinions and judgments, which are of a very low vibration. Yet as our spirit and as our light soars within us, there is an inner understanding, an observation of what goes on in the outer world and of what acts often in the lives of others. And we come to simply observe that there are those things in the world that are wonderful and constructive, and there are those things in the world that are not, that are destructive. We come to understand, without judgment, that there are precious peoples where something destructive is acting out in them. No longer do we judge them or do we hold opinion. Rather, inwardly, we might hold a vision, a prayer, that they might be free of any destructive activity that has gotten hold of them. We are often compelled to make peace with all of Jesus' teachings, not just part of them. For human nature sadly discerns that some of Jesus' teachings are unreasonable, such as we must come to love and pray for our enemies. And so, all of this awakening, as I stated, brings forth enhanced senses and faculties, and each one begins to see the results to all their efforts to fully awaken and become their true God self, in right relationship to all aspects of their self, right relationship to all life in this world, and a new relationship with our ideas of source, such as the Heavenly Father and the Heavenly Mother. And in this great process of awakening, we soon come to face with realization that we may be carrying, we may be holding old perceptions that must be cleared, old emotions and beliefs that must be healed, if the process of awakening is to continue. And for some of these things, we can use our new spiritual powers, and for other things that we must face, we might require some gentle form of counseling and therapy, all in rightfulness, in the great desire to be free, to be self, to be fully alive. While all of this is unfolding, the energies of our life, our minds, our bodies, our emotions are all becoming much purer, and we begin functioning with a greater vibration and frequency of light and love. It is not long until our vibrations are much greater, much higher than the vibrations of the energies of the outer world, such as lack, limitations, and disease. And it is here, in this unfoldment, with the wonderful radiant frequencies and vibrations within you and that are pouring out from you, it is here where the lower energy vibrations of human miscreation no longer touch you. And precious hearts, with this beautiful awakening comes a new appreciation for the powers of nature and the forces of the element of your planet. Together, you begin a kinder relationship with all kingdoms that you are sharing life upon this earth. And soon, you discover ways that you can bless, that you can help to restore life that has been damaged upon this planet. Ways to help restore that life. And it is not long before we realize the very beauty of life itself that is within the fabric of all life. Our awakening leads to greater joy and greater studies. For once we are upon a path of great discovery, that includes discovering within our consciousness that there exists a perfect being, our greater self, that we left behind centuries ago in our belief of separation from Source and the loss of contact with our Source. And in our great awakening, we may be led to many kinds of meditations. For our studies reveal that contact with God is now available in the silence of the moments. That with purpose and intention and inner communion, we can prepare ourselves to enter deep within the silence of our inner consciousness. And in our meditations, we soon realize we are making contact with an inner being, our true self that is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. Daily, we look forward to making contact with our inner God self. And we decree, we make our life that we have been given an open door for this mighty inner presence to begin to unfold in all our outer life activities, and new spiritual energies and radiance, God powers from deep within that inner God being begin to unfold a mighty transformation of our earthly embodiment. And here it is that we arrive in a place in our spiritual studies, in our efforts, our prayers, our decrees, our meditations. It is here that we come to understand the words of Jesus Christ regarding to be born again, the second birth. For the first birth into this world is a birth that comes through man, through the flesh. The second birth, to be born again, is the spiritual rebirth of your physical bodies. It is this that seeks to now unfold. And as each of you in your daily meditations begin to experience the inner glow, the inner radiance coming from your inner God being, rest assured that that greater light, inner flames of purification and soul love that is coming up from the center of your God being has begun your second birth, the spiritual rebirth of your physical bodies, the raising of your physical garments to be mighty instruments, temples, and wherein your own inner God nature more and more surfaces. And this increases as daily you make contact with your beloved God self. I would remind you, precious hearts, to use the wonderful variety of meditations that I have presented in the Tree of Life class. The practitioner's treatment, miracle moments, the attainment meditations, the demonstration treatments, the metamorphosis meditation. To use a variety of these and to know each of them offer a unique approach and a unique form of contact, where once you complete your meditation in the silence, It is your time to let go. Your time to let God in you do its work. I love each of you. May the rose-pink flames of divine love nurture you each day. May each of you continue all your efforts. May the rewards of heaven unfold in the life that you have been given. May each of you, through the power and the glory of God in you, have the opportunity to glorify God the Father and God the Mother. This can only happen if you will glorify the God presence within you. And if you will continue to make that effort, keep yourself an open door for that mighty being within you, your true God self, to come forth into this world, that it may glorify life itself. Beloved roses, namaste, namaste, namaste.